Happy, I decided to put together my top 5 corners coming into this year based on some of the things they did last year, the lockdown-like performances, and the expectations for this year. So I want to get your reaction, and for you listeners and viewers that are checking us out on this episode, chime in. You do a great job, YouTube, hitting us in the comments. The same can be said on social media. My number 1 is Jalen Ramsey. I think there's no argument there.
I like it.
The versatility has been well documented. The big play performances, following opposing teams, number 1 wide receiver, and just trying basically effacing them out of the game plan has been who Jalen Ramsey is. And you didn't see a drop off. You know, he changed his number to number 5. He's still balling like he did when he had number 20 on. So that's my number 1. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I think number 1 is because it would probably be the consensus for all football fans. Most people would have Jalen number 1. But my number 2 might surprise a few people, and that's okay. But I'll go Jaire Alexander as a second best corner. And the reason why I'm going Jaire Alexander, he's showcased the ability to show versatility, play inside. Of course, he's been known to be an outside corner. But last year, he dealt with a shoulder injury. But when he's healthy, he might not blow you away with the picks, but his impact is still felt. I mean, I go back to 2020, that year, especially in the playoffs when you know the lights are at its brightest. He became the first cornerback since 2006 to allow negative yards in a playoff game, and that was against the Rams. That man allowed -3 yards in a playoff ball game against a star-studded like team in the Rams, who eventually went on to win a Super Bowl the next year.
That's crazy.
Then in that same playoff stretch, he picked off Tom Brady twice. I mean, literally almost won the ball game with that second pick, but of course the Buccaneers won that ball game. So just the versatility, I love how he tackles. This is a guy who's always around the football, around the football.
I agree.
My number 3, Xavien Howard. Xavien Howard.
Ball
hawk. That's it.
That's it, ball.
In 2020, he had 10 picks. He led the league. The last 2 years, he's had 15 interceptions, 36 PBUs. The last 2 years.
Yeah.
36 PBUs. So this man has gotten his hands on 51 footballs in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's big.
That's impressive. And if you have an issue with Xavien being 3rd on my list, go back and watch the job he did against his now teammate Tyreek Hill when they played against the Chiefs last year.
Yes,
I mean, you can highlight the one-hand interception, but other plays, and we all know how difficult it is trying to cover Tyreek Hill and follow him.
I love what the Dolphins did too with Brian Flores as their coordinator. They probably had to run the most zero blitz I've ever seen.
You talking about last year?
Anybody.
Oh yeah.
Anybody.
They sending them.
I mean, they sending everybody.
And you know how that feel.
Man, the quarterback ain't got no choice. He throwing it up. He getting out of his hand.
And somebody better get home.
Somebody better get home, or we better be picking this ball off.
No question. 2 things better happen. And he's been one of the best in doing it. So he's number 3 on my list. My number 4 is another guy who's a ball hawk. This guy was born to pick off passes. J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson, Florida guy as well. I mean, his last 2 years, he had 9 picks, and last year he had 8. The last 2 years combined, 37 PBUs. In 4 years, Pat P, this man got 29 picks.
Ooh.
Now think about this. In 4 years, he has 29 picks, but he just became a full-time starter like the last 2.
Like 2 years ago. Ooh, that's
29
nasty.
In the last 4 years.
That's nasty.
And he's playing in a defense where he's on the island a lot when it comes to just being man-to-man, and he follows opposing teams' number 1 guy. You know what I mean? He follows them, and he's been doing a great job. Like I said, the last 2 years, 17 interceptions, 37 PBUs the last 2 years. But 29 in 4 years, he's finally getting the recognition. He just got a big bag, too.
Yeah, that's big.
Now, my last player, number 5 on my list, I consider this player to be the Damian Lillard of cornerback play, and that's A.J. Terrell. He's highly underappreciated. The thing about A.J. Terrell, last year, jumped on the scene. Outstanding football. But he was able to dominate and win most of his one-on-one battles while playing in a bad defense.
Right.
Look at some of the other guys I mentioned. All the other players defensively, they were a part of better units. Right. The Atlanta Falcons, I mean, listen, it was a reason why they were so high in the draft, because they were bad. But A.J. Terrell balled out, 16 PBUs, 3 interceptions. I think he was a second-team All-Pro. I mean, this is a guy who played against tip-top performers and balled out, very, very athletic, 6'1", 190 plus, a guy who's scrappy, and he flows around and he does a tremendous job just competing. But the thing about this player right here, Pat P, I'm about to read something to you. You know the game just better than anybody. Mm-hmm. Let me name you the wide receivers AJ Terrell is gonna see this year.
Okay.
Michael Thomas.
Twice.
2 times.
Yep, twice. Mike Evans, twice.
Mike Evans, twice.
Yep.
DJ Moore, twice. Cooper Kupp.
Yep.
DK Metcalf.
Ooh.
Amari Cooper.
Ooh.
Debo.
Okay.
Jamar Chase.
He got a nice little lineup.
Keenan Allen or Mike Williams, you pick.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin and DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, he got a nice little lineup, man.
Hey, you talk about
what you want.
So if you don't know who he is, watch him this year, because if he get through this gauntlet of pass catches, like I said, I think he's a Damian Lillard of cornerback play, because he's he's much underappreciated because he's on a bad team. No one really watches him. But this guy, he does numbers. He did numbers last year. And we also had AJ on the show as well. So hopefully we can get him back sometime soon. What your thoughts about my top 5, Pat P?
I like it. I mean, I can't argue with that at all. You know, I like the order. I like the explanation you gave behind it. And honestly, that'll probably be my top 5 too, to be quite honest with you.
And I left some guys off. I mean, you can't get everybody on.
Right.
You know, Marshawn Lattimore, I'm a big time fan of. Mm-hmm. He was on the outside looking in. Trey White, I'm just concerned about the injury, you know, towards ACL. How soon will he be back to being that all-pro-like player? So it's a laundry list of outstanding corners. Big play, Darius Slay.
What you think of Diggs?
Huh?
What you think of Diggs? You know, he was a pick.
I like Diggs, but the thing about Diggs, the only thing I guess would be considered, you know, a question mark is he give up a lot of plays.
Okay.
You know, he sometimes he can be a give or take corner.
That's what they were saying, yeah.
Yeah, a give or take corner. One thing about Diggs, his ball skills might be the best in the league.
Oh,
I mean, he turns into a wide receiver.
Yeah, no
but
doubt.
sometimes he makes so many plays, he gambles a lot, and sometimes he's not right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But don't get me wrong, he's the next one up to get that huge bag.
Oh, yeah,
but what he did last year, I think he had how many interceptions? Like 8 or 9? I think he had like he was picking off passes almost every week. It seemed like. Yeah. But you got, you know, Diggs. It was hard for me to get him in my top 5. Lattimore, Darius Slay, who I love as well. He's been doing it for a long time.
Hey, you know, Darius Slay was that old.
Man, D Slay been putting in work for a minute.
I know, but I didn't know he was 32 though.
Yeah, 32.
But Diggs had 11.
Diggs had 11 picks. Yeah. Lord have mercy, he did.
But
he just picked one off, by the way.
Yeah, he just picked one off. You saw it?
Yeah, but Darius Slay been doing it for a while. Highly respected too.
I think Darius, 2 years under me, if I'm not mistaken. Year 10. Yeah. Now I'm a big fan of his too. That's my guy. Man, I've been to a couple of Pro Bowls with him. Had an opportunity to chop it up with him. Very
humble the game.
Guy, very funny. Just a cool dude, man. So yeah, he's one that, you know, that just on the outside looking in, but he can easily be in there.
He can easily be. That's what I'm saying. I think the names that I mentioned that were not in can easily be in the top 5. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about Darius Slay, they also got James Bradbury to start opposite of him. That defense in Philly might be real nice.
Yeah.
That defense, man, they made some changes and made some additions, so they might be. Whew. Yeah. And I like what they're doing offensively, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them win the NFC East this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah, but hey, ladies and gents, that's my top 5. My top 5. Let me know how you feel. If you like, you disagree, want to add a player, want to take a player out, let us know. That's what we do here. Until a game is played, this is what we're going to do. We're going to spark debates. We love to hear your feedback. We like to throw them in our show as well. But